Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Did I sound good? Thank you. Okay, today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. Someone recommended this to me in my comments, and honestly it seems like a great idea to tell you a little bit more about myself, why I started this channel, and what I hope comes from this channel. So I've got the questions on my iPad. I looked at them, but I didn't think through any answers. So this is going to be very much stream of consciousness. So bear with me on that. Okay, question 1. Why did you start this channel? So I started let's actually back up. I've wanted to have a YouTube channel for at least 6 years now, and I always kept telling myself I need someone else, or it needs to be 2 or more people to have a YouTube channel. So I was always sort of scared to take that leap by myself. So let's start there with why I'm on YouTube in general, because it's just been a big dream of mine. Why I started a booktube in particular is because I started a bookstagram 2 years ago now, and found something that I'm really passionate about, and passionate enough to talk about in multiple videos. So I think that's why I started this channel. If I had to give a short version, I would say because I've always wanted to be on YouTube, and I found something that I'm passionate enough to consistently talk about and make content about. Okay, question 2. What unique things can you bring to Booktube? That's a hard one that I probably should think about, but I'm not going to. So I'm gonna say this. I think that everyone has unique perspectives on books, and we all see things differently. My 5-star rating might be 2 stars to you, and vice versa. So just another person to bounce opinions off of, to talk about books in a different way that maybe you haven't talked about before. Okay. Question 3. What are you most excited about? I'm excited to be able to talk. I am a yapper at heart. I love to yap. And I don't feel like you can really yap and talk on Instagram. You can, but not to the same extent that you can on Booktube. I can get on here and post an hour video of me just ranting about something. That's a good vibe, and I'm excited for that. I want to do that. I might do that. Question 4. Why do you love reading? I feel like this is becoming a cliche answer, but cliches are only cliche because they are true and they happen so much. Reading really helps me turn my brain off. There's always, if I'm not reading, there's always something that's going on in my head, and reading allows me to turn that off and focus on something else. And reading in particular is one of those things that because it's storytelling, to me it's easier to focus on that and be able to listen to multiple stories without getting bored, as opposed to when I crochet, it sort of feels like I'm doing the same thing. It doesn't turn my brain off as much as I would want it to, unless I'm listening to a book. So yeah, it helps me escape. Is that the short answer? Escapism. So that's why I love to read. What got you into reading? Okay, so I feel like this is still true today. When I was a kid, to me, buying books was more fun than actually reading them. in some ways that's still true. So I would go to Barnes and Noble and go up to the little kids section and buy multiple books. Now, it got to a point where I couldn't get more books unless I started reading the books that I had. So I was kind of in this forced proximity relationship with books. And luckily, I ended up loving to read. And then I got to be able to go buy more books. So that's kind of how it started, because I like to buy things and spend money. And then I stopped reading in like middle school and high school because it felt like it was becoming more of a chore than something that was fun, because you're reading all day at school. You have books to read for school, and it just felt like I'm not having a good time. So I didn't really read recreationally at all, because it was like, you know, I'd rather do something else. And then like junior year of undergrad, I started reading again, and I've been reading since. So that was 4 years ago that I like restarted my love of reading, and I took a like a 10-year gap almost. Wait, am I that old? No, I took like an 8-year gap. That sounds better. So I took a big gap, and then I'm back again, and I'm enjoying it more, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Okay, next question is, what challenges do you think you'll face? I think biggest challenges will be like creating new and original ideas, but also like getting the motivation to actually record, edit, and post something. I could see that being like a challenge over time, because I think in the beginning you're like so excited to be on Booktube, you're so excited to talk about books, you're so excited to do all these things, but sometimes life gets in the way, and it's like, how will I find that balance of being able to say, okay, well, today I'm gonna sit down and record, today I'm gonna sit down and edit, today I'm gonna post a video, and just being consistent. I think that is a challenge on Bookstagram as well. Staying on with the trends, keeping up with everything, but also finding motivation to do it. Okay, where do you like to read? So I read in this room in my library. Maybe I'll do a library tour before I move. I feel like that could be fun. But I read in here. Like I said, I read almost pretty much all day. So I read in the car going to work. I drive a lot. I'm listening to books on those long drives, and I read in the bed. I never read on the couch. If I read on the couch, I don't read on the couch, so I don't know. But I think if I had to pick two places that I read the most, it would be in the car, like if I'm going somewhere, or in the bed. Those are top two places. What kind of books do you like to read? I'm a romance girl. Don't shoot me. I'm gonna put my Storygraph stats right here so you can see. I think I read mostly romance, but I love fantasy books. I really love historical fiction, specifically African American historical fiction. I love literary fiction, and I don't know, it's like YA considered its own genre, because if it is, I sprinkle YA in from time to time. Oh, and thrillers. Now, I think I've said this in a video before. I don't read as many thrillers as I used to, because I live by myself, and thrillers are frightening to me, so I don't like to be scared. But I do enjoy them. Like those are books that I do enjoy. So they're somewhere on the hierarchy. Like I said, I'll put my stats up here so you can get a good look at those. Okay, this is the last question, is what are 3 of your favorite books? Let's get into it. This is the nitty-gritty. This is what we're here for. Okay, what book do I want to start with? Let's start with Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. Me and Allie have had a difficult relationship. Like, the first two books, The Love Hypothesis and whatever the other one is, I really try to scrub it from my brain as much as possible. Love on the Brain, that I did not enjoy. Like, The Love Hypothesis was okay, right? And whatever. But Love on the Brain keeps me up at night because it was just horrific. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about love theoretically. And some people say this is the same pattern as all her other books. Is it? Kind of, yes. But I love it. So let me tell you a little bit why, I guess. This is academic rivals to lovers, fake dating-esque, and women in STEM. So I feel like I saw a lot of myself in this book. For those of you that don't know, which is probably everybody because I never talk about it, I'm getting my master's degree right now in psychological science, and I'm getting my PhD, or starting the process of getting my PhD in the fall. And I had a really difficult relationship with my academic advisor this past year, and that's something that Elsie goes through in this book. So I just felt really seen. I was like, whoa, hold on, this is kind of me. Also, the fact that she is a people pleaser to the highest degree, I also feel as though that's me. And trying to like make other people feel better despite what might be best for you, I was read. I didn't read this book read me. So I fell in love with Elsie as a character because I saw myself in her. But then on the flip side of that, like, seeing yourself so much in the female main character is seeing how she's loved on the other side. So it was like, I feel like I need the type of love that Jack Smith Turner provides. And I'm not going to get into it too much, but he lives in my brain rent free. Like, rent free, utilities paid, and water included. He's never getting evicted. This is not one of my go-to recommendations. Like, if somebody asks me for a book recommendation, I'm not just gonna automatically say this one, but it's one of my favorite books, and I feel like those two things can exist in separate categories. But go read it. I feel like everybody should read this just so you can tell me what you think, because I want to know. Okay, next book, Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. Now, a lot of people are finding out about this book because of the show, which honestly I love. I'm glad that more people are knowing about it, because if it wasn't a show, a lot of people wouldn't. If I could put how I felt reading this book for the first time into a pill and take it as a daily supplement, I would. I really don't know what else to say other than it's mystery, it's family, it's love, it's racial issues, it's sexuality and gender issues, it's everything. And I was saying that I really enjoy African American historical fiction, and I think this book just does it very well. And I also like a book that can consider multiple perspectives, because I think, like, I can think of right now just at least 5 characters that you go through the story with in this book, and it's done well. Sometimes that's very, very hard to do, but it's done so well. And you're asking yourself, who is this woman, and how is this black cake going to tie this whole story together? And you get all of those answers and more in one of the most beautiful ways that, like, I've ever read in a book. I think I read this for the first time 2 years ago, and it has not moved down from my at least top 5 favorite books of all time. So, since I just said favorite books of all time, let's talk about this one. And I say talk about very lightly because I don't even know what I'm going to say. This is Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. Where do I even want to start? This is about two people figuring out where they exist in the world. And I know that sounds so broad, and that's because it is. I've read this book. When I read it again this year, it'll be my 4th read. And each time that I've read it, something new has like stuck out to me in a way that doesn't happen with most books that I read. But the first time I read it as a love story, because on the cover it does say a love story. That's what it says. So I read it as like a love story, looking for two people that, you know, slowly falling in love and whatever. Okay, so that's how I read it the first time. The second time, I was like, this is not a love story. This is dark. This is mental health. This is way more than just your run-of-the-mill, like, two people falling in love. It's so layered, and just it's so rare that you find a book where you like is like a interesting word to use, but where you enjoy both characters and both characters are thought out. So like their whole character arc is like in this book in a way that you can think about them after the book. You can think about what they did before the book. Like you can just see them in this book. I know it probably sounds like I'm saying nothing, and honestly maybe I am, but I just feel like everybody should read this book. And I'm so glad that I own this copy because people would pay good money to have this, and it's one of my most prized possessions. But yeah, so the first 2 times I read it, I saw something completely different. The third time I read it and I listened to the audiobook with it as well, because it wasn't traditionally published at the time I got it, now it is. And the audiobook even adds like another layer that's like, but I've said all this and haven't even told you, not even in the slightest, what the book is about. Aldo and Reagan. Aldo is a math teacher and Reagan is Reagan. And she's dealing with mental health and a difficult family. And Aldo is dealing with mental health as well, but just in a very different way. And they meet each other and they are friends that slowly start to fall in love, but also heal each other. It is sort of a codependent relationship, which is something that I didn't realize until the second read. Like I said, the first time I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. They love each other. They're perfect for each other. But the second time I read it, I was like, these two people are codependent and might need to exist separately for a while. But all of those things and more are like explored so well in this story. And the ending is one that people don't always love, and it's always one that I like have to think about what I took from it each time I read. But I think the last time I read it, I was very happy and pleased and content with the ending. That is not the case for the first 2 times that I read this book. So again, this is one that I reread very often, and I just love it. So maybe when I reread it again this year, I'll do a more in-depth sort of reading vlog so I can talk about specific things that I'm missing from this short little talk about it. But yeah, Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson, and Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Those are 3 of my favorite books. Okay, those were all the questions on the Booktube Newbie Tag. I had fun. I had a good time. I think this would be a cool tag to do, like hitting different milestones, or like every year, every other year, just to see and keep track of how things change and how I change as a booktuber. So this was really fun for me to do. I hope you liked the video. If you're still here, there was a thumbs up for you. Like the video, comment down below and tell me what your favorite book is or what got you into reading. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna post a video every week. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna post a lot. So you need to be locked in. You need to make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys again for watching the video, and I will see you next time.